What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the Pika Pika Papa, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the 10 cards that sold with the highest degree of velocity on TCGplayer for the month of November. And you know how excited I get whenever TCGplayer shares this information with us, because what drives the price of Pokemon cards? Say it out loud, say it proud with me. You and me, that's it. There's nothing else that drives the price of this. It is always supply and demand. And when you want to understand what cards have the highest demand, there's no better place to look than TCGplayer.com. So when we see these cards that are featured in the top 10 highest degree of velocity on TCGplayer, that goes to tell you that the demand is really through the roof. I mean, just think about all of the other cards that are being sold on TCGplayer and think how in demand cards must be to crack that top 10 list. Like, it is just a very, very powerful data set. And we've been looking at this data set for over 3 years now. We started on all of 2023. We had all of 2024, and here we are about to finish 2025. And so we're going to highlight some things as we go through this video that we have learned over the course of the last 3 years are very important and can help some of these cards really outperform versus others. The biggest thing is, and it's most relevant now towards the end of the year, is when we looked at 2023 and 2024, cards that were featured on this list 3 or more times throughout the course of a calendar year outperformed cards that were only on here once or twice by a huge margin. So you're going to see this little 3+ hero kind of highlighted in yellow designation that give some of these cards. These are very important to pay attention to because, as I said, when we back tested those 2 other years, those cards balled out. So I think it's very, very important to call it out. The other thing too is you are going to see yellow stars atop some of these cards. Those represent how many consecutive months a card has been on this list. Again, if you want to know where the market is hot and heavy, if you want to know the cards that are biggest in demand, understanding they were on there for the month of November is great, but understanding how many consecutive months they've been on there is even better. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that for you as well. In addition to the single card prices, I'm also going to show you the price from the booster box or the Pokemon Center exclusive ETB, because understanding how the sealed product is moving versus how the single card is moving, again, we have seen strong correlations to that in the past, so that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm telling you right now, we have 10 awesome cards to talk about. I can't wait to get into it, but before I do, as I said earlier, and as you can tell, we put a ton of work into this besides just popping 10 cards up on the screen for you. So if you find value in it, if you're jiving with the energy here, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. Those 2 small things go a very long way in helping my small channel out, and it's the best way to say thank you for all the work that we do here on the channel. No, before we get into the 10 cards, you know what we always start off with? We always start off with the cards that fell off the list. So this month, obviously, there's going to be a lot of new because we have 6 cards that fall off. 6 cards that were on the list is the most, or the cards that sold with the highest degree of velocity at TCGplayer in October that are not featured now in November. And I kind of broke it up because those top 3 cards right there, all 3 of them are from 151. But if you're like me and you're a huge 151 fan, don't fret, because I promise there are plenty of cards from 151 that are featured on the list this month. However, look, Mew, right? That's from the Ultra Premium Collection box. That promo card, that thing has been too hot to handle. It's been absolutely crazy. It has fallen off. And then the Charizard from the original Charizard Ultra Premium Collection, that one fell off. And then, I don't know, they call it the booger card, but whatever. It's been on the list a couple months in a row. Personally, not my favorite. It's the same artist that did the Bubble Mew, so I think a lot of people piled in there. But hey, listen, if it brings you joy, if you want to have the card in your collection, go for it. It's just not my cup of tea. But those are the 6 that have fallen off, and now we're going to start talking about the ones that are on here. So the first one right here is the Zapdos from 151. And as you can see, I got that little designation there. It's a 3+ hero. It has been on this list 3 or more times throughout the calendar year. It was not on the list last month, but the thing that I'm calling out here on this very first slide, and I'm going to reference it multiple times as we look through the other 9 cards that are featured today, is on the left, you can see the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box. It dropped just a little bit in price over the last month or so. Not much, but just a little bit. But look what happened. There was a big spike in buying volume at that Pokemon Center exclusive ETB. Now, even at that lower price, I mean, you're still talking, it's like $875. So when 11 of them are purchased in a very short period of time, it is really interesting to me. It just goes to show you that there is a somebody or group of somebodies out there who believe in the long-term prospects of this and really wanted to jump in when it hit that $875 price point. And it's the same thing for the Zapdos. And honestly, I think this is a really smart play. I mean, I don't have enough money to go out and spend, I don't know, 90 times $66. Like, I don't have that amount of money, but you can see here that when the price got all the way down at about $65, a group of people or an individual went on and bought 90 copies of this amazing special illustration rare Zapdos from 151. And that is what we typically see. We see that happen a lot. When prices start to drop, you start to see these support lines form. We do a ton of information here on this channel where we see support lines. I try and call it out to you because traditionally, after we hit a level of support, a period of time passes, and that's when we start to see these prices start to accelerate again. Now, I will give the caveat, this is too early. Like, I'm not going to say this card's going to flatten out at $65 just because we've seen one big instance of high purchases. We're going to have to let the market flush itself out a little bit, but $65 is kind of that round number, so we'll just have to wait and see. And really, really cool. So be interesting to see where this goes in the long run. But next one that we're going to talk about right here, the Blastoise from 151. And obviously this card has been on the list for 8 consecutive months. That is almost unheard of. The only other card that we saw on here for 8 months or more was actually the Lugia from Silver Tempest. That card was on here for what felt like forever. I think even the Umbreon from Evolving Skies was not on here that many consecutive months. So that just goes to show you like how high the demand is for this Blastoise card from 151. And again, the exact same principle here. Look what happened when it got all the way down to about that $75 price point. You see another big spike in that light blue bar graph. So you can see that there was a big purchase, multiple purchases of this card on TCGplayer. As far as I'm concerned, I've said this a million times over, I think in the long run, I think 151 is going to mature and age like fine wine. I think that right now, there's still a lot of it out there in the wild. I think as we get deeper and deeper and farther from that September 2023 release date, like I think it's just going to continue to explode, especially in the singles card space. The only thing that holds some of these special illustration rare cards back is that the pull rates are incredibly favorable. I think the odds of pulling this particular special illustration rare was like 1 in 200 packs. So there's going to be a lot of them out there. The counterpoint to that is that the gem rates were really bad. So even though there might be a lot of these raw copies out there, there's not going to be a ton in the PSA 10 holder. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two dynamics work over time. But no matter what, incredible artwork, incredible set. Obviously, the biggest names in the entire business. Love to see 151 getting all of this love. Next card right here, believe it or not, Ancient Mew just hit the 3-month hero mark. So this is not traditionally what we see here again, but it's interesting times. So I did not think that this Ancient Mew promo was going to make it a third time, but here it is. So last month it was off, the 2 previous months it was on. We've talked about how there's a lot of excitement in the Mew space right now, right? Like if you watched the video on Sunday, we saw that the Bubble Mew, you're starting to see the sales volume pick up on that a little bit. We saw that the Mew and the Mewtwo from Unified Minds, that Rainbow Tag Team card, was featured on the Movers and Shakers list again on Sunday. So there's just a lot of organic energy around Mew right now. It might be one of the characters that was kind of overlooked for quite a while. And in terms of pricing, I mean, this card's got some age on it, right? And it's going for $81, so it's not that expensive for a card of that age. It's a promo. Promos have been really hot. So for whatever reason, if you look over the last year, it was $40 a year ago. It's up 92% to $81 right now. So just an incredible run for this Ancient Mew card. And I am amazed it has been featured 3 times throughout the course of 2025. We're only 11 months in, right? So 3 of the 11 months, this has been a top 10 card in terms of buying and selling volume on TCGplayer. Wild to think about. Next card that we're talking about right here, just like the Blastoise, 8 consecutive months, the Charizard from Obsidian Flames has been here featured on this list. And again, another perfect example of where a card spiked in price. It was working its way back down pretty significantly over the course of a couple months. And look what happened. It started to get to the $75 price point, and then you see a huge spike in the light blue bar graph. I'm not going to beat the dead horse on it for the rest of this video, but it is interesting to see these different cards across these different spaces, right? We've seen it in 151 already. You're seeing it in Obsidian Flames right now. Spoiler alert, you're going to see it later on in this video from another set. So you're starting to see it's not just concentrated in one area. As these cards start to fall, there are people out there who are taking massive action to start adding large numbers of these into their collection. Now, it's probably not a collection, to be honest with you. If you and me are being completely transparent, it's probably people who are buying them to hold them because they think the upside is going to come here relatively soon and they're going to sell them for a profit. Nothing wrong with that. That's part of the business. But very, very cool to see how this type of buying volume is happening across multiple cards, across different sets, across all kinds of different eras. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is Lillie's Determination. And this is why I was talking about different eras. because this is a Mega Series set, right? This is from Mega Evolution, and do not sleep on Lillie. Lillie has such a strong track record of just absolutely producing incredible cards with incredible fan interest over long periods of time. So here's another one. As you can see, the price was coming down, hit about that $90 mark, and then over 100 copies of this were purchased in a very short amount of time. For me, Mega Evolution is still new, and as you can see, the booster box price there on the left is still working its way down. It's down to $234, which is crazy to say because MSRP is $164 and it literally just came out. So to say it's coming down and is already at $233, I just can't wait until we get to a space where MSRP is approachable, but we'll get there, I promise. However, this card is absolutely killing it. It's been on here 2 consecutive months, and I do think I'm going to be adding some more Mega Evolution sealed product to the collection relatively soon, because from a depth perspective, I think it's a very deep set. I think it's got a lot of really cool cards, and this is just one of many. Next card that we're talking about right here, we've been highlighting a lot of promos. So the Greninja card, this is probably like, I don't know, the shining star of the Shrouded Fate set. You know, this came from a sealed box right here. It's got the wood grain to it. It is a very unique artwork card, and I think it is going to hold a lot of collector interest again for a very long time. It's been on here 2 consecutive months. It is a 3+ hero. It's been featured 3 times throughout the course of this calendar year, and it's coming in at $47. It had worked all the way up to $65. Now, I don't see any really crazy buying and selling volume, but you can see that there was an instance recently where about 100 copies of this were purchased right around that $45 price point. But what's interesting to me, and what I think I'm kind of grabbing onto right here, is the Greninja card is on here at $47, but you also have the Kingdra card. The Kingdra card's at $51. Now, you're not talking about a huge difference. They're only $3, so you could say they're directionally flat. But if you look at the buying and selling volume of both of those cards, it's relatively similar. So again, both of these incredible promos have been on here 3 or more times throughout the course of 2025. Both of them have incredible artwork, and I think both of them will retain a lot of collector interest for the long term, hence why we've seen them featured so many times in 2025. Next card we're talking about right here, man, I had done a lot of work on Misty's Psyduck. I am such a huge fan of Misty. My oldest daughter has red hair, so of course I always think of Misty. I love the artwork on this. I love how Psyduck and her just going for a swim in the pond. I love the fact that it's from Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals is the monster set from Scarlet and Violet in terms of the regular series sets. Now for specialties, we talked about 151. You got Prismatic Evolutions, right? But from the regular series, Destined Rivals is it. And when I look at this card and when I think about the set that it comes from, I think about the Starmie V alt art from Astral Radiance, right? That has Misty on it. Misty isn't even named at the top of the card, but because of her and because it's an alt art, it's sitting all the way up at $100. Astral Radiance can't hold a candle to Destined Rivals. And when I think about all of that together in 3 years from now, man, I think this card has an incredible future ahead of it, and somebody else does as well, or a group of somebody's, because as you can see, the exact same pattern that we saw before. As the price was dropping, again, another 115, 120 copies of this were purchased on TCGplayer. This is a very, very smart move as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't mean it won't continue to drop in the short run, but again, if you're like me, you have a very long-term time horizon for all of this, I think $50 is going to be a distant memory in about a year and a half or so. Next thing we're talking about right here is Dawn. So we're talking about Phantasmal Flames, and Dawn came in at number 2. So this is the number 2 card in terms of buying and selling volume on TCGplayer. This card is coming in at $53. Now, ask me which I would rather buy. Would I rather buy this Dawn? No hate on Dawn. Like, the artwork is pretty cool. Love it that she's sitting there mountain biking. I'm a big outdoor person myself, so mad respect to Dawn for that. But if you ask me if I want to spend $50 on this Dawn card, or if I want to spend $50 on that Misty Psyduck from the previous slide, I will do the Misty Psyduck all day, twice on Sunday as far as I'm concerned. But super cool to see a Phantasmal Flames card featured here. Absolutely love it that we've got a couple trainer cards here coming on back to back. So really, really cool. And again, it's found its support super early. It'll be interesting to see if it can hold that $50 price point, but the jury's still out here on Phantasmal Flames, so we'll just have to see what these other cards outside of the Charizards do. Final card on the list. Man, I love this card. I love the artwork. I love the box that it comes from. I love everything about it. I'm telling you right now, those ultra premium collection boxes, they're down to $180. If I can buy them under $150, I'm picking them up left and right. I've been able to snag 3 of them under the $150 price point. So anytime I can find them sub $150, I'm picking them up. I will buy multiple copies of this promo card. I'm not saying now, I don't even know when, but I will be keeping an eye on it because I just remember everything that happened with the original ultra premium collection Charizard box. I've got a bunch of them sitting in the Poke Closet right in front of me. I remember where that thing was just beat up. People hated it. For whatever reason, they knocked it. And then all of a sudden it turned into this phenomenal investment. You're not going to find this dropping into the $80, $90 range like we saw from the original Ultra Premium Collection box. But again, I am happy to spend $150 on this. I think it is a fantastic buy at that price point. I think this promo card is going to do really well over time. I think the pack selection, which you can get out of this box, is absolutely incredible. So from the promo card to the box itself, big fan all the way. And I am not surprised that this was the #1 selling card on TCGplayer for the month of November. Listen, I love this video series so much. I take so much away from it. I really enjoy it. I love all the different nuances we're able to add out there. I'm really excited to see this buying and selling volume trend that we've at least seen going on as of late. So if you had fun, if you enjoyed it too, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. Great way to say thank you for all the work we put in here. But no matter what, I hope you have an epic rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later, everybody. Bye.